Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. She doesn't respect boundaries. Long post. I'm sorry. Maybe I just need to vent. Maybe someone can tell me I'm not being crazy. My girlfriend and I share a child together. Been together for about 8 years. In the last year, she has started spending time with other men. Now I'm not controlling, mind you. She has always had a preference for male friends and I didn't stand in the way at first. But it feels like every time she has a male friend, he starts making moves on her. She used to stop them, shoot them down. But there have been 3 different men in the last year. She knows they're interested in being much more than friends. She doesn't cut them off. And I could maybe live with this. Except she also cuts me out. I've never been in their presence for more than a few minutes. Headphones on and in the other room when they're on the phone, or just talking when I'm not home. It gets worse. A few months ago, she was going out with them all the time. Leaving early for work to see them and not telling me. Leaving with them at 1 in the morning after I'm in bed. Sometimes going out drinking with them, and several times spending the night. Get dressed up real nice, makeup and heels and boobs out. She won't bring anyone to our house, and someone has to watch the kids, so I'm stuck home and can't go with her. She cut 2 out of 3 of them off recently, and now one of them is obsessive, calling her all the time and driving by our home at night. He's the one she spent the most time with, even introducing him to her family. He refers to her as his fiancée and his future wife. She says he's crazy and is talking about getting a restraining order. But she only cut them off because they did things that made her mad. One guy because she found out he was married and had lied to her about that. The other because he got obsessive and controlling. She swears up and down that she never did anything inappropriate with them, never cheated on me. But I just don't believe her. In either case, she knew the whole time that what she was doing was devastating me. She still did it. There is still one guy she talks to, but she's careful not to talk to him around me. She says because the guy has no filter and I don't want you giving me looks. I'm an absolute wreck now. Constantly wondering when she's going back out. Stomach starts doing flips when she starts putting on makeup and God forbid she takes a shower at 10 p.m, my mind goes into panic mode. I love her, but I don't even know why anymore. I want to get past all of this and go back to the way it used to be. But I don't know if I'll ever see her the same way. I'm all but convinced something was going on with someone, but she'll never tell me and I'll never catch her. I don't know what to do. I don't want to live this way anymore. She cut one guy out because he was married. If they were just friends it wouldn't matter that the guy was married. The reason she cut him out was because he wasn't free to be more than friends. Don't let her insult you any longer. Dude, for your sanity and self-respect, leave. It's over. You know it. It's crystal clear that she is cheating on you with so many people, and I'm amazed to know you aren't even considering leaving. Wow, where the hell did you sell your self-respect, huh? Giving advice would have worked if you actually had a backbone and self-respect to stand up for yourself, but you don't have them. I am considering leaving her. Even though a part of me still loves her. Maybe just loving something that isn't there anymore. Love isn't always enough. Respect for each other and caring, prioritizing, understanding etc. play a vital role to build a relationship. If only love was enough, there won't be so many cheaters. You'll get through it. Just don't give in to your feelings of wanting to be with her. In a while you'll be fine. Till then be strong and resist the feelings to get back together after you break up. Anyone ever get frozen? Deal with depression and anxiety plus ADHD. Recent change in living arrangements, now living alone. Have my kids a few days a week. I'm frozen. All I do when I don't have my kids with me is smoke weed, watch TV, dick around on my phone or just nap on the couch. I had all these plans for what I was going to do with my time, but I didn't do it. When I do have the kids, I'm stressed out, but I actually do things, mostly with them but also stuff around the house. But then some things also become much more difficult or impossible because I have kids with me. One of my kids has extremely bad ADHD and is very challenging, oppositional, etc. It gets worse. I'm frozen now with stuff I need to do in terms of work or bill responsibilities. I start thinking about starting a tough project at work. I get this little flip in my stomach and my brain just sort of turns off the thought and gives me something else to think about and do. I think, hey, your car inspection is overdue, you should go get that done, but the same thing happens. It's okay for now, but very soon it's going to become a huge problem for me in more ways than just at home. Does anyone else deal with this, and if so, how do you break out? So, I meditate on different things I might want to do. Things that spark a weird influx of energy. You know what I mean? Rapid heartbeat, frisson energy. Maybe an idea for a painting, or a webcomic, or the idea of something new like to learn to play guitar. I break it down into smaller goals, easy to attain steps so I can clearly see how to get there, and that gets me that big burst of frisson. It stays with me as long as I'm focused on the next step, and completing steps gets me more. As long as I spend that energy entirely on the goal instead of squandering too much of it on other things. I will spend some on minor stuff here or there because I'm still doing other things too. But mainly, that's how I'm practicing using soul power for motivational energy to achieve goals. My biggest problem is overcomplicating stuff I don't need to and working too hard for too long just because I let my inner perfectionist ruin the direction. Can't force myself to keep going and finish it anymore when that part of me decides it's no longer worth it. Living alone, not sure how to feel. Now living alone. Fiancé moved after being unfaithful, an emotional affair at least, but very likely more. I have the kids about 50% of the time. She wants us to work it out, but I don't know yet. Still grappling with that one. It's been 14 years since I didn't have a child around to look after. 18 since I didn't live with a significant other. I'm divorced, foolishly got into another relationship right after. And I have literally never lived alone. Now when I'm home alone, I just sort of exist. I don't clean. I barely eat. I play video games or watch TV. I have things I'd like to do, but it's like this invisible block that just sort of stops me. I don't feel sad, just sort of neutral. Hard to explain. When she or the kids are there, I sort of come to life. I do things. I clean. I have interests. I'm alive, even if my feelings towards her are complicated to say the least. It was what some would say a rocky and tumultuous relationship. I do have some codependent tendencies, and I have considered having her move back. But I'm genuinely afraid of what that could mean. It was not easy for her to find an apartment. Has anyone else been through this? Like I said, I don't feel sad, so I'm not sure depression is at play here. I feel like I have defined my existence through caring for or supporting others, so I don't really know how to exist with nobody relying on me. Lingering anger towards bystanders. Need support. While I cope with the mess that is my life, I'm also left with anger towards others who were aware that my fiancé was running around with another man. I knew some of these people for many years. Some of them, I helped out in some very big ways. I saved one of them from an abusive boyfriend that was beating her outside our house. When my fiancé started running around with this other man, she would sometimes bring her friends or family members with them. These people were fully aware how upset all of this was making me. Several times they would get prettied up together and walk right past me as I bawled my eyes out, laughing to each other about the good times they were about to have and acting as though I wasn't even there. One in particular, her sister, approached me when I was sobbing my eyes out in the bathroom, for the third time that day, and asked me if I was okay. Asked if I wanted to talk about anything. And like a fool, I told her everything I was crying about. She acted concerned. She acted supportive. She even told me that I was right to be upset and that what my fiancé was doing was wrong. And then she immediately ran back to her sister and told her I was being manipulative and trying to pump her for information. Come to find out, she was encouraging my fiancé to cheat on me the whole time. And nobody told me anything. Nobody spoke up for me and told her what you are doing is wrong. Nobody said up. It's not easy to say, but you need to hear something. Since I share a child with this woman, I will never be completely free of all of them. I'm going to see them sometimes. But when I do see them or hear their voices, I get so angry. You all knew what was going on. You all knew it was absolutely destroying me. I was there for many of you when you were at your lowest. And you just kept quiet and didn't lift a finger. It's hard to keep my mouth shut. Anyone else ever had to deal with this kind of thing? How do you cope? How you cope is by moving on as far as you can from all of those people. You are not married yet. With how blatant your fiancé was with the cheating, you should leave her. Get a lawyer and bring up the cheating in the custody hearing. You have to deal with the mother of your child, but you do not need to be in a toxic relationship with her. You staying will not help your child. It will teach your child all the wrong lessons about what a loving relationship should be. Get a therapist. First, work on yourself. Have the therapist help you find the right way to explain to your child why you and mommy are breaking up and will not be around each other. I am saying that it is best for you to not have joint parties with her and her family. You need to do what is best for yourself before you can do what is best for your daughter. A drowning person cannot save anyone else. Get on steady ground and be there for your daughter. Do not aim for coping, aim for striving in life. I had to leave everyone behind. I don't know who knew my husband was cheating, and I really don't care at this point. People attract what they are, and I am happy I don't have to see some of those horrible people ever again. Cheating is a toxic act and toxic people attract each other. Just remember that. It's different since you have a child. However, I would be friendly yet distant. Smile with a wave and then a secret middle finger. Life is too short to worry about assholes. I am one to just tell everyone what happened, bring it to light. Be authentic in your experience, but without a lot of emotion, even if you feel like breaking down. The roaches tend to scatter in the light. Just remember there are good people in the world. Don't you mean ex-fiancé? Been there. I call people out for cheating for fun, now we'll blow our whole party up. I've seen acquaintances cheating and called there so people hate me for it, but I really don't care. I throw everyone under the bus. I wish you had been friends with her. Someone used my card without my permission, suspect someone. I woke up this morning to a $110 charge from an online women's clothing store. I have never shopped at this website before. A little investigation showed that my fiancé's sister posted a bunch of new purchases from this website, totaling around $92 before tax and shipping. She included the prices. Tax and shipping would bring it up to around that amount. Pics posted yesterday, and I found the charge in my email bank statement this morning. This sister absolutely hates me and has engaged in some pretty shady behavior in the past, and she was at our place a few weeks ago, so she could have gotten my card info while I wasn't in the room. I called the bank and they cancelled the card. They have 90 days to do an investigation. When they asked me if I suspected someone, I told them who and exactly why I suspected her. I was clear with them that I wasn't completely sure, but that it would be a very odd coincidence if it wasn't her. My fiancé is now worried that they're going to come after her sister even if she isn't guilty. I told her I didn't think that would happen, but I don't know what to expect here. Now that I've formally disputed the charges, what will happen on the bank's end of this? What does the investigation look like, and what kinds of consequences can the perpetrator, whether it's her or not, expect to face? I am in NY. Banned from r/rant for excessive male fragility anti-MRM. Sorry, this post has been removed by the moderators of r/men's rights. 14-year-old son wants to move in with me, custody/kids, New York State. This is gonna be long. I had custody of my son. My relationship with my then girlfriend wasn't great. She had some mental illness that wasn't treated, and he witnessed some fighting that I wish he hadn't. His mother, to be honest, didn't help at all, and it was a pretty toxic time. He hated my girlfriend. About 5 years ago, I had the opportunity to move from our country town to work in a city. The only apartments I could afford were within the city. My son was very much the nervous, anxious type of kid, and it would have been like whiplash for him to go to a densely packed urban school after spending 4 years in a tiny rural district. So I let him live with his mom. She had her own mental health issues, but it seemed at the time that she was getting them under control. She lives about an hour away from me, and I still had him stay with me on weekends and during school breaks. Fast forward 5 years. My girlfriend, now fiancé, has grown in leaps and bounds. She's gotten a ton of her mental health issues under control with steady treatment, including counseling and medication. She is not, by far, the same person she once was. We have 2 kids, 9, my stepdaughter, and a 3-year-old who absolutely adores her big brother. We still have our problems like any couple, but it's been many years since the kids were exposed to anything close to a fight, and we handle it all so much better than we once did. My son, now 14, has become increasingly unhappy living with his mom. They live with her parents and she shares a room with him, divided by a standing partition. It sounds like she's taken a downturn. She's been on disability, had a few part-time jobs but got fired from all of them. He asked if he could live with me. He shared a bunch of things that, frankly, shocked me. They include: she tells him to lie to his doctor about his ADHD medications, even though he doesn't take them anymore. He hasn't been on them for a year or so. He doesn't know what she does with them. She smokes a ton of weed. Now I smoke weed too, in the evening and away from the kids, and it's legal in NY now. But according to my son, she smokes in the room with him to the point his eyes are burning. He sometimes worries he's getting a contact high. A couple years ago, she went through a heavy drinking stage where she would verbally curse him out. "Get it yourself, you lazy piece of," was the example he gave me. I asked him why he never told me, and he said he didn't want his mom to get into trouble. When he visited this weekend, he told me he wanted to move up with me. I was thrilled. He wanted me to be there when he told his mom at the drop-off, so I stood there and let him talk at the drop-off. She said fine and stomped off to the car. Not 5 minutes after they drove off, he is texting me that she's guilt-tripping him. "How can you leave me after everything I've done for you, etc., etc." When they got home, she announced him as the visitor who didn't really live there anymore. Since then, his mother and his grandma have been berating him for wanting to leave their home. His grandma even asked him how he'd feel if he left and his mom took her own life. I talked to her today and she declared that she was going to fight me on this, even though he continues to say he wants to live with me. I know I'm headed to court. And I know I'll probably need a lawyer. But what should I expect here? How far do the wishes of a 14-year-old go in the eyes of the courts? Maybe I'm just venting. Maybe I need advice. Maybe both. But any input would be appreciated. I know we screwed up with him back then, but he's offering me a second chance. First of all, next time he visits, don't drop him off again. Just let him stay with you. Let your ex choose to take this to court. You don't have to initiate. In NY 14 is old enough to have an opinion in custody and the court will listen. If she does threaten to take you to court, calmly point out the things you have stated here. Be clear that the court will hear all of these things formally from your son and that these will become part of a permanent court record. Tell her that you will petition the court to assign a lawyer for your son, so that he will have a clear voice in these proceedings uninfluenced by either parent, and you will encourage your son to be 100% honest. If that is not enough to get her to settle with you, the next thing you pull out of your pocket is to request a forensic psychological evaluation. She, and you, will be judged on how fit you are to be parents, so everything about her mental health will come out and be shared with the judge. Note, the court goes to every effort to keep these records very private. Tell her that if she wants a healthy relationship with her son, it would be wise of her to respect his wishes, just as you did all those years ago. I should have added that I formally let her take residential custody back when he moved in with her. She said the school required it to enroll him. I have paid child support, if that means anything, and always on time. The school I wish to enroll him in, where I work as a teacher, will require the same. So I'll need court papers giving me residential custody. With emotional abuse, it sounds like an order of protection for your son could be an option. You can get temporary custody in those. And then do the custody petition. I'd talk with a lawyer or a domestic violence agency. This is emotional abuse. I'd about NY. But in some states mental abuse isn't really looked at unless it's extreme. Definitely look into therapy. But the more important aspect is that the 14-year-old will have a voice. Is the mom just afraid of losing that sweet child support? As a mandatory reporter that works in child and adolescent psychiatry, call CPS yesterday. Everything you have said here is grounds for removal, and she will likely test positive for amphetamines if she's diverting his ADHD meds. None of this is okay. Once he's with you, don't let him go back. Contact CPS, call the police and get a restraining order against her due to the abuse. At the very least, exposing him to drugs and smoking near him is grounds enough for someone to intervene. But what should I expect here? How far do the wishes of a 14-year-old go in the eyes of the courts? It depends. 14 is an age where a child can talk to a judge in most states, but how much say the child gets will depend on what reasons the child tells the judge. A child wanting to move homes is generally a substantial change in circumstance. I do not agree with posters that say just don't give him back, that sets you up for going against a court order. Get legal advice before you make that move. I do not agree with the expense of a forensic psychologist as the next step. It's expensive. I would agree that getting the child to a therapist who could help document this stuff over time. Regardless, you're solidly in lawyer land. He sees a therapist at his mom's house. I usually only know about the appointments after he tells me about them. She never notifies me in advance. But I really doubt he tells the therapist about this stuff. He's the kind of kid to keep all his feelings in. And I'm pretty sure they're phone or virtual appointments, so he wouldn't feel too comfortable speaking against his mom when she's right there. I agree that keeping him against a court order could set me up for something bad. I don't want it to blow back on me and cost me in the end. At the same time, would it be acceptable if I called CPS the next time he's up here? I'm worried that his mother will pressure him to lie for her, and if I call them here, they can send an investigator to interview him at my place without his mother interfering. If they recommend I keep him, I will do so. How much right does a teenager have to do things given to him? Custody/kids. I posted a while ago about my son wanting to live with me. His mother has begrudgingly agreed to his moving in with me. Good news there. I called his doctor and talked to them about the pills, and they won't be filling the script again, but they didn't talk to him about it at his last appointment. He wants to bring his Xbox with him and she is dead set against this. He's furious with her, but she won't budge. She threatened to call the police if he took it, and she told him she'd smash it before he got it out of the house. I could buy him a new one, but it would mean diverting funds I had saved for a family trip to the Bronx Zoo. Big trip, planned it for a year, private tour, Airbnb, each kid and my fiance gets a close-up encounter with an animal, basically a day where I can say yes to everything for everyone, not cheap. And either way, he told me in no uncertain terms that he doesn't want me to do that because I already have one. It's my property and you shouldn't have to buy another because she won't let me take my property with me. He's a big gamer, but not to the point where it impacts his grades. It's his hobby, something he's passionate about, and it's one of our biggest shared interests. It's not a small thing to him. I'm a little torn on how to proceed. I considered showing up at his mom's super early before anyone else wakes up and having him just bring it out and ride off with me to my place, over an hour away, but my gut is telling me this could blow back on me in some way. How would you, neutral and objective Redditors, proceed? Who bought the Xbox? If she didn't, he's a minor. Technically she's right. If he bought it with his money he earned, it's his. If it was purchased together, he should be able to bring it. Either way, she is creating an issue with her son by being like this. She gifted it to him for Christmas. He's 14. Probably going to end up buying him a new one. Just really infuriating that I'll have to pay out the nose and change all our plans for the trip because she wants to be controlling. Update on my situation: she definitely cheated, but there was more. About a year ago I posted about my fiancé spending way too much time with a man who was in love with her, staying out late with him and generally being shady as hell. She claimed that nothing had gone on between them, but there was just too much for me to believe that. We share a 3-year-old. We separated and she moved into an apartment 15 minutes away. I told her I needed space from her, as she hadn't come clean with me and I didn't believe what she was saying. A couple months after she moved, I pressed her hard one night and told her that if she didn't give me the 100% unfiltered truth, I would end it, as I had no way of forgiving her if I didn't know what I was forgiving her for. She started crying and confessing. There were things I didn't expect to hear. She hadn't ever been physical with him, but there were a few times she was close to doing it. She admitted that it was definitely an emotional affair and she knew she had obliterated any healthy boundaries. She had a drug habit. She said that this was a big part of why she was so guarded about where she was or why she was out at random hours of the day. She was snorting pills. She would sext with him sometimes. She said that there were times that she did too many drugs and blacked out and woke up feeling uncomfortable and like she had done something wrong, but she has no memory of those nights. She said she had asked the affair partner if they had ever done anything that she didn't remember and he said no. She said she had moments where she felt guilty, but her sister, who had encouraged her to do this, always convinced her that it was okay. He's probably cheating on you anyway, or you deserve to be happy and he's not making you happy, etc. This was a lot to take in. She told me that she loved me and she knew she had made some terrible choices and that she had hurt me in ways that would take a long time to fix. She said she would completely understand if I wanted to end things with her and that she deserved it if I did. She blocked the guy's number and on social media and pursued a restraining order against him, since he was pretty persistent, didn't respect when she told him to leave her alone. Since then, we've been closer. I still have moments where I get really nervous. Her sister continues to badmouth me and has tried a few times to hook her up with other men, but never in person, and she's shown me the messages of her shooting her sister down. She's patient with me, shows me her phone if I'm anxious, doesn't go out at night, comes straight home after work without strange delays like there used to be. She's much more affectionate towards me. She doesn't do any more drugs at all except occasional cannabis with me. I got tested for STDs and came back clean. I have pretty much severed all contact with her family, minus her father and youngest sister, who live separately from the rest and had no part in all of this. They're mostly all the worst kind of white trash, think Jerry Springer, so this is no loss to me. Her other sister continues to look for a wedge to drive between us, and I feel like this will come to a head at some point. I'm giving her another chance. I'm nervous about this, but from what I can see, she's doing it right. She seems genuinely remorseful about it, told me truths I didn't even suspect, and did so without my finding out on my own. The only concern I have about her disclosure was that I really had to pressure her to get her to spill the truth. I told her that if I ever find out that she lied to me, misled me, obscured the truth in any way, I would instantly leave her and sever all contact and support outside of what's necessary to co-parent our daughter. She swears that there is nothing more to tell. You can't trust an addict. One of the conditions of our reconciliation is that she eliminates all hard drugs. If she backslides on that, it's over. It's never this simple, she will just get better at hiding it. I would hope there was nothing else to tell. I have to say, in my case, the USA's drug of choice played a huge role in my wife's affairs. Drugs are huge. My wife had drinking buddies she had sex with rather APs that she drank with. If she cleans up the drugs, the rest of the stuff should go away on its own. I really think you are on the right track here, and I wish you all of the luck in the world. Dude, come on. All of that time she spent with him. All of the effort to look good for him. All of the ways she kept you from being around him because of what he might say. No man puts that kind of effort into a woman without getting something in return. And that's not even counting the drugs and the near certainty that they would get wasted and bang. I'm sorry, but there is no part of this story that's believable. You're staying? Man, some people really do it to themselves. Woman face palming, what an idiotic decision. Dumbass. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.